Now, there was another big win on a Saturday night. Michigan demolishing Purdue, as I told you they would do last week. And second consecutive Big Ten championship for your favorite coach in America. Second consecutive college football berth for your favorite coach in America. They come into the college football playoff ranked number 2, behind Georgia, ahead of TCU, and ahead of Ohio State, who backed in to the Final Four. Eric, did the committee get it right? And are these the 4 best teams in America for this college football playoff?
I don't even think I should have given that side. Yes, the committee got it right. I feel like there have been plenty of times throughout the playoff process. First of all, you having 4 playoff spots has always opened this conversation
for sure
to be a possibility. That's just going to happen. But I think from what's happened and what's transpired over the last couple weeks, I think they got it right. And I think they did it easily. I really don't think there's a discussion at this point. I'm okay with TCU being where they're at, losing their last game by 3 points. No shame in that.
Especially the way that they lost.
Exactly. There's no shame in that. Ohio State, yes, you can say they backed in. But the teams that could have got in ahead of them, you saw Nick Saban campaigning on TV like a goof. That was embarrassing. You don't have a case when you lose 2 games. And I don't care about what the point differential was. You lose. The only way that argument applies is if Ohio State was also a 2-loss team.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry. You lost twice. You're not.
But then, okay, so if Ohio State were a 2-loss team, then UCLA, or not UCLA, but USC by default would have to be that 4th team, because then you're penalizing them for losing the extra game that nobody else played.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
even though, yeah, I'd have to look. I think
No, I hear you, but yeah, I just don't think it applies for them. Like, I just don't think it applies for Alabama. I mean, they tried to pump it up, saying, "Oh, our team wasn't healthy. We didn't have any embarrassing losses like the other teams."
Yeah, you would have to,
bro. Like,
but if Ohio State had 2 losses, you would have to keep USC there because they only have 2 losses as well, and their second loss came in an extra game that Ohio State and Alabama didn't have to play.
And I'd be fine with that at that point. But what he's trying to do is, like he said, "Oh, if it was a neutral field and you just had us lined up, will we be the favorites?" Like, bro, that's not how this goes. You look at your resume. We're not looking at your roster on a blank. Exactly. That's fine, but it's based on what they did throughout the season, not what they look like on paper. That's not how it goes, Nick, and you know that. You damn well know that.
No, I know he does. I know he does. But to play devil's advocate,
okay,
Ohio State's loss, their 1 loss, in my opinion, is actually worse than both of Bama's losses. Both of Bama's losses come on the road.
Okay.
Last second plays. And we're by what? Combined 2 points?
Okay.
Or combined 4 points, I think it was. To me, that's better for the resume, even though it is an extra loss. I'll grant you that.
Okay.
Than getting blown out at home by 3 touchdowns when you were favored by what? How much was Ohio State favored by? 10? 13?
A lot, yeah.
A lot.
Quorum when he was out, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I think, I mean, to echo what Calvin's saying here, I think Alabama might be better than OSU.
That's fine. And let's
there should be a play-in game. There should be a play-in game, with that. Like the NCAA tournament.
I'd be okay. Like, yeah.
Let OSU and Alabama battle for the 4th spot.
I'd be okay with that. But here, let me meet you in the middle, because what you're talking about were the losses. And let's say I agree. Let's say that, yes, losing to your arch rival in the second half by getting blown out when you should have put the game away by how the game started. Let's agree with that. That's fine. That's the loss. That's 1 game. You're talking about 2 with Alabama. And again, that's the 3 games we're judging. It's not based on just 3 games. It's the entire tenure of your resume and your schedule. Nick Saban trying to argue everything but that, making all these excuses. That's not going to fly. Yes, I agree with you on the loss, but it's not based on a piece of paper who's the better team. It's whose resume is more deserving to be here in the playoffs.
I see their resumes as almost equal, to be honest with you. I see them as like nearly equal because
no way.
We're gonna
No
find
way.
out. I mean, we're gonna find out. Ohio State playing Georgia. We're gonna find out if they actually should be there or not.
That's fair.
Right? I mean,
I don't think, but that's not.
I don't know.
But see, I don't like that being the barometer for the show that they deserve it. It's not based on how they performed it. It's based on what they did up until this point. And I don't think, yes, if you want to look and say, okay, CJ Stroud isn't better than Bryce Young. Their defense isn't better than that. You're like, okay, but their resume says that they did better than what Bama did. You have to look at the resume. You have to look at their seasons. You have to look at the totality. And I don't really think it's an argument. Sorry, Nick.
Listen, I don't want Bama in there either. I just think that they have a little bit of a case.
So would you have voted for them and put them in 4?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know. Because here's the thing, like, there's no clear-cut 4th best team. Like, do I think TCU is actually one of the 4 best teams in America? I really don't.
Okay.
They're good. But are they better than Ohio State? I don't know. Are they better than Alabama? I know that's not true. And so I don't know. Like, this was not an easy year to pick a 4th team. And had chalk held and USC actually won the Pac-12, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Fair.
But that didn't happen. So now Ohio State's in. I've got no problem. Maybe I have a little bit of a problem with Ohio State being in just because it's Ohio State and they seem to like weasel, like they're the team with 9 lives all the time. But I don't know, man. I look, they have 1 loss. Okay, that's 1 less loss than Alabama has. Okay, great. Put them in. Let's see where the chips fall, and it's okay because I think this sets up perfectly for Michigan, which leads to our second question, right? Can Michigan win it all? The number 1 team in the country, Georgia, who's really good, is going to have their hands full with a team with a chip on its shoulder against Ohio State.
Yeah.
So they got to get through Ohio State, who's arguably the 3rd best team in the country, arguably.
Oh, but I mean, if they're as bad as everyone's talking about to be, then hey, it should be a wipeout, right?
Well, I said arguably.
Okay.
I qualified it.
That's fair.
So they're going to have their semifinal matchup against the 3rd best team in the country, potentially.
Right. Okay.
And then, if all holds true, then have to face Michigan. I think this really kind of sets up really good for Michigan. You got to get past TCU. You can't overlook TCU. I'm not trying to overlook TCU. Yep. But you're a 9.5 point favorite right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Calvin brings up a little bit of a good point here. Michigan didn't get this treatment in 2016 with the college football playoff.
Well, hey, talk to the committee, man.
I know. The committee's a joke. They're so dumb.
They've been terrible. Like this is what they do. This is what they set up.
Like I never thought I would pine for the BCS to be back, but I'm almost like,
yeah, this is where you miss it.
Kind of, because like at the end of the day, it would just be Georgia and Michigan playing for the national championship.
I'm gonna answer your question, and you might be surprised.
Okay.
I learned that JJ McCarthy is better than I thought.
See, thank you. I've been telling you.
You'll
start to listen to me on quarterbacks now, hopefully.
We'll talk about one of your other quarterbacks later.
Not Baker. Okay. Not Baker. I'm not gonna. He'd be a cheaper option than Goff next year. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, here you go. See, I'm going on. I'm moving on. JJ played a fantastic game with his legs, but I was more impressed with his arm. He was wheeling dramatic. Again, he got his help.
I was so mad about that.
That pick was bad. Him rolling out, trying to be cute.
What are you doing?
That was a Mahomes type trying to throw. Yeah, that was.
Go ahead.
Good.
I will let you continue.
No, cool. Yeah, outside of that, I mean, he was the best player on the field. Like you got complimentary help with his run game, which is what they've had all season. I've waited to see if there was a necessity for him to convincingly get a victory. Illinois, you could argue, really wasn't that, even though they got a win. Mm-hmm. This was totally different. And I don't care that it's Purdue because they gave them all they could handle for as long as they could.
They did.
Again, like the defense has not shown up at this point at all at any point. So they have a chance. I don't think this is gonna be like some just go away game for Georgia. I think they're gonna make them earn it. I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan comes out holding the natty. I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh man, I will be if they win a national championship. I don't even know how to explain how that Monday night is going to go. In fact, we should probably actually do like a watch party for that.
Yeah, we can do that.
We should do Beyond the Box live while we're watching the game. I think that would be great.
I'm with that. Okay.
Maybe we can get in the DSN studio with Jeff and
hit the cave. Okay.
Maybe
we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We will talk about it. My goodness. I think they have a chance. I definitely think that they have a chance. I think that they are a better team could potentially be playing Georgia than the team that played them last year. So yeah, I'm gonna say natty or bust.
It's come to that.
I mean, I'm a fan. Of course, I'm gonna say natty or bust. But yeah, I mean,
winning the natty or getting to the natty or bust? Which one? Because I think you can afford to get there and lose.
Yeah.
So where would you put it at?
I'm not gonna say like if they don't win, this season's a failure. Like I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah.
I will say though, if they lose to TCU, this season will be unfulfilled.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Like I've got back-to-back Big Ten championships. Awesome, great. Like I love winning championships, but you got to improve. And you lost in the semifinal last year, so let's win in the semifinal this year.
Facts. I'm with you.
And I think that the X factor is JJ McCarthy, like you were saying. I don't think TCU will be able to stop him, especially from what I saw on Saturday of them playing Kansas State, because they can be exposed. Now, Max Duggan's a good quarterback, and he's a scrappy kid, and he's going to keep TCU in that game. But I think Michigan's going to be too much. When did you know the Big Ten championship game was over? Saturday night.
Oh, when I knew it was over. Let me see. It might have been early, like because his rhythm was very impressive, like from the gate. Like I didn't know what the margin was going to be.
By Loveland in the first quarter, that was beautiful.
That was a beautiful catch. But I felt like I knew it
making that play.
Yeah, that was because again he's leading a lot of his receivers, but yeah, getting him involved was lit. So I think I knew early just doing the rhythm to see what he was in. I knew the running game was going to wake up at some point. Defense was going to do what they do. They kept him clean like they have all season long.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really expecting anything different. So, yeah, I was.
You know when I knew that game was over?
What's that?
The first play of the third quarter.
Okay.
When Donovan Edwards ripped off that 60-yard run, I was like, okay, we've won. Like, game is over at this point. Because he didn't have much running room up until that point. He had a few yards. But, like, when he hit that, first of all, when he made that man miss, that move, that dude was on skate.
Brought him inside out and then went back outside.
Goodness.
Oh, that was nice.
But when that play happened, I was like, okay, the game's over. I know that the game is over at this point. Like, I'm not even going to worry about the outcome because we're about to score. Then we're going to score again because they now cannot stop a running game. And so it's beautiful. I love it. I hope Michigan go blue. You know, we got 3 weeks to anticipate this matchup with TCU. Thankfully, they play at 4 o'clock on the 31st, which is fantastic. But that's why the 12-team playoff is going to, I think, work out quite well because you're going to have football all through December that matters.